The Whig Tory with Michael J. So, I just get back. A lot has happened. A funder of an election campaign that put over $100 million to $250 million into a campaign was giving a money away, was spin the wheel, win $1 million just to win an election. So the government has a deal. So what's the deal? The deal was to fund the government from December 20th on a Friday up until March. That would have kept government going smoothly without any issues to allow for the inauguration, the smooth transition of the new President of the United States. And then what happens? You've got a tech billionaire that's not even elected. Let's go to the double screen here. You got a tech billionaire that's not even elected, and in the last minute they tanked the bill to shut down government. So two guys, this tech billionaire, what's his name? Elon Musk, has all these. He's a self-made man. He's self-made off the government trough, government contracts. That's how your billionaire became a billionaire. Government contracts. He was a millionaire prior to that. But him like Trump, both started off with a bit of a silver spoon. Bit of an advantage over the average Joe. And you say, is that possible? Damn right it is. So here we have Trump tanks House GOP. He's not even the president yet. And he's tanking the running of the government. The support that keeps everything in place. Like this gentleman, he's bankrupt 6 companies. He's trying to run the government. Got to remember, this guy bankrupted a casino. Only guy that can bankrupt a casino. So now he's going to do the same with government because he's going to run it like he ran his business. And this is what he's doing. And then this guy, Elon Musk, not even elected by the people, is telling the GOP they had a deal, a bipartisan deal, already settled, already signed off between the Republicans and the Democrats to fund the government till March. Elon Musk tweets out, "Don't do it. Stop doing it." Trump does the exact same thing. Then Trump wants the debt ceiling. It's funny how when the Democrats need the debt ceiling raised to perform all the funding bills for infrastructure spending, which helps the people, the Republicans, no, we can't, no more debt, can't do it. And this guy who wants to give tax breaks to those same corporations, and those tax breaks to those corporations are to the top 1%, the top 10%, never filters down to the average Joe. And the little bit that did get down to the average Joe for about $3,000 a month went to creating an inflation spike. And then you had PPP, Payroll Protection Plan, because of this worst pandemic in 100 years. And then a guy stalls the PPP for 2 extra weeks so he can have his name on his check. People think he's the guy paying them. It's just taxpayers' money. Same taxpayers' money that bailed out the soybean farmers for $28 billion. And I think they're still providing subsidies now to those farmers in this new bill because they torpedoed the business. Trump torpedoed the business, lost the tariff war for China because most tariff wars, especially the way he wants to do it, like he's trying to with Canada and Mexico, I don't understand why Mexico or Canada gets upset. They're obviously going to get hurt by the tariffs, but so is the American people. If America's 10 times larger than Canada, the effect on the American people is going to be 10 times more. Very simple mathematics. So let it happen. Let everybody go through pain and suffering. So here's the next question. Why do you elect a government to create pain and suffering? Is that why you elect people? You like pain and suffering? Do you think that's a normal, good way to live? I don't know, folks. I don't know. So I'm going to go, we're going to do the Soul Brother train ride now. The Soul Brother? Oh, yeah. So instead of all the normal stuff you normally see, this is from Roland Martin. He's a love brother. Not a bad guy, actually. Does things just a bit different. But here he is. December the 18th. Headline, Elon Musk government shutdown. An unelected tech giant that's been had everything skewed in his favor. Tariffs to protect his electric car business. Because if BYOD of China was able to bring their cars into the United States, they make a good product at a really good price. Tesla would be out of business. A lot of the big four car makers would be out of business too. Now, the second point is Trump's Herschel Walker, ambassador to the Bahamas now. So Herschel Walker, ambassador to the Bahamas. The hits keep coming. And then the Gates report, Matt Gates. Well, we know he had a fondness for underage girls, like Epstein did, and like Trump did, who hung around with Epstein for a long period of time. So let's just see what Roland's got to say here. This is good. You're going to like Roland. I like Roland. He's a peace brother.
Well, just in time for Christmas, Republicans are freaking out on Capitol Hill because Elon Musk, the co-president-elect, came out against the continuing resolution that would fund the government for the next 3 months. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said, hey, we need to get this done. It's a 1,500-page document. It includes a number of different things, including pay raises for a member of Congress. They could go from $174,000 to $243,000. Well, Republicans are going crazy, pushing back, saying this is not what we were sent here to do. Now, J.D. Vance, of course, who is Trump's sidekick, is weighing in as well. And House Speaker, I'm sure Hakeem of Jeffries, the Democrat minority leader, is like, don't look at me. I can't help your ass out. So this is what happens when you let the crazies in charge. Got to go to my panel right now. Julia Malvo, economist, president emerita of Bennett College, author out of D.C. Scott Bolden, lawyer here in D.C. Glad to have both of you here. What did I say, Julian? I said, for the next 4 years, I'm going to be playing at every juncture Scarface's song, No Tears, because these Republicans are absolutely crazy and stupid. And I said, allow them to do what they do, and you're going to see it. Now, here's the problem. They have a very narrow majority right now. It gets even smaller in January. It's simply going to be 3 votes. And so Speaker Johnson, he may not even be elected speaker. And so the chaos is going to continue. And so, hey, if they want to let Elon Musk run the whole show, by all means, do so. It's going to mean chaos. Oh, by the way, stock market today dropped 1,100 points. You're going to see more of that with these idiots in charge.
Idiots is the right word, Roland. This is the most ridiculous times. Mike Johnson just scurry, try to get a deal. The deal that he got isn't perfect from anybody's perspective, but we have to have the $100 billion in disaster relief, Asheville, other parts of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, here's the other thing, too, and this is another thing. Because of, what was it, Hurricane Helene, North Carolina, there's $100 billion in disaster relief funding in this bill for those people, because still a lot of people living in their vehicles, living in tents or whatever else, just as a result of the damage, and it's still going on. So they're playing these games. Trump and Elon Musk, they want to raise the debt ceiling. Well, there's another president, so that they can blame the other president when everything goes off-site, and not the right way, not in a good way. And the same thing happened in between 2016 to 2020. If you look at any of the actual charts, the economy that was handed over to Trump was good. He tanked the economy, but there was a pandemic there too. A pandemic came in later. And the unfortunate thing was what he had done prior to the pandemic, plus the pandemic, created a real bad inflation friggin' boondoggle that hit the world. But it was around the world. It's not exclusive to North America. This is what people don't get. People don't pay attention. They don't do the research, get the facts. They just listen to a lot of lies, propaganda from people that just want to get elected so that they can play with the government funds, and that's really what it is.
And other places that were hit by Helene and also Milton have not recovered and need the resources. And it's Christmas time. I mean, some of these people are still living in tents in their cars. And then we're looking at the farmers. And although, we still don't believe that black farmers are treated well, we do know that COVID and the supply chain issues have affected farmers poorly. And what Johnson did was usually those farm states are Republican states, got them and got some Democrats. And I thought we had a continuing resolution. I do not understand. Well, we know what happened. Elon Musk purchased his co-presidency. He purchased it with all the money he put into the Orange Man's campaign. So, but it's mind-boggling if you have a mind, and if you don't, it's business as usual. And they basically are doing their business as usual. But this affects the American people. If you shut the government down, who doesn't get paid? There's a question. And what percentage of those people are African American? There's another question. If you shut the government down, how do Social Security checks get processed? And we can just go down the list of questions that we have about what happens when government shuts down. So they don't care, though. They don't care. Elon Musk sees government as a profit center. His bond with Trump is that they both see government as a profit center. In other words, Elon Musk has billions of dollars of contracts with the United States government. He won't get his check either, but he won't miss it. So you're absolutely right. Let the sideshow begin, because it is a sideshow, unfortunately, under the big tent.
So, Scott, here's the deal. Go to my iPad. This is from Politico. Speaker Johnson weighs spending Plan B as Elon Musk stokes opposition. They're looking at a called clean funding package, and here's the deal. They would drop $100 billion in disaster aid, plus $30 billion for farmers and a one-year extension of...
Can you see that? They're discussing dropping $100 billion in disaster aid. People need that.
The farm bill. So you know what? It's going to be a whole bunch of folks in those red states who are looking for disaster relief, can't get it now, and those farmers. And that's where, I'm sorry, they voted for his dumb ass. This is what they get. And so it's going to be a lot more of this in these red states. And so Democrats, if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, this is what I do. Don't come look at me. Go talk to them. I'm good. Nah, this is what y'all wanted. Don't come holler at me. I'm not gonna save your ass.
You voted for it, America. That means you bought it, right? Now you deal with it, right? You own it, as we say. And watch two relationships that over the next 4 years, especially the first two, The two relationships you're going to have to really focus on, and you're going to be doing commentary on, is the relationship between Trump and Musk and how long that lasts, because Musk believes he owns the government and the White House right now after investing over $100 million in buying it with Trump. And then the second relationship based on the economy, the tariffs, these continuing resolution deals that may get killed ultimately in the House. That relationship between MAGA and Republicans, elected officials and voters, right? The economy and Donald Trump, because he owns it now. He owns the economy. He can't blame Biden. He can't blame Barack. He can't blame anyone else. So now it's on his watch, right? That relationship is going to go south, in my opinion, if this economy doesn't keep moving forward like it has on the Biden administration.
Yeah, but plus, if you kill the government, that keeps things operating, keep like Social Security checks and things like these aren't necessities for people. Disaster relief, necessities for people. When you're using government funding as a leverage in this manner, it's extortion to get what you don't really deserve. You're asking for something, and this guy's not even in power yet. He can do whatever he wants when he becomes president. He's going to have control of things. It's not like he doesn't have control of the House of Republicans, doesn't have control of the Congress. He's got control of these things. He's even got a Supreme Court that's been paid for, that's bought and paid for, that's given him an immunity ruling, never needed since the history of the Constitution from day one. But somehow this Supreme Court gives an immunity ruling to this guy, Donald Trump. So let's look at quickly at Mr. Scaramucci, the Mooch we call him. He worked 10 days for Trump. He's really got some good insight about Trump because he knew him for a long time. He's a Republican. So this is what he states. And this is what Trump does. This is the start. This is what Trump does. Now listen to what he's got to say.
Trump does. He says two contrary things at the same time. His detractors hold on to one thing. His people that love him hold on to another thing, his advocates. And so he made it very clear to John Bolton. He made it very clear to General Kelly, Jim Mattis, Rex Tillerson that he wanted out of NATO. He made it very clear. He slowed down the arms.
He wanted out of NATO. And the only one that has ever asked for NATO's help under Article 25 is the United States of America. And it's a real irony, I'll tell you. You're trying to torpedo what keeps the world safe. Even though you are considered the superpower of the world, you're the only one that has exercised Article 25, where every member of NATO helps you on a mission for what you need done, and he wants to torpedo it. Like, this is not how you... Is that what you do with your best friend? It's a weird thing. Then also shipments to Ukraine. Now, there was armament funds that were put together to help with the breakup of the former Soviet Union, which gave independence back to Ukraine and Moldova and other areas. And so
shipments to the Ukraine. In 1994, we cut a deal with them. They were the sixth largest nuclear arsenal in the world. We got the nukes back in exchange for security guarantees.
So here's the deal. This is back in 1994. You created a deal to get the nukes back. They had their nukes. They could be saying, okay, Ukraine, you want to nuke, or Russia, you want to nuke us, we nuke you back. But the thing is, they gave up their nuclear armaments in order for security guarantees. The NATO world and America, this is the deal engineered by the United States. And Trump goes back on all these deals. He always goes back on his word on all these deals. He's the great pretender I'm the deal maker. Great pretender.
He slowed down the arms shipments. There's irrefutable fact to that, a result of which gave Vladimir Putin an opening in the Ukraine. Moreover, he moved the embassy. The State Department asked him not to move the embassy in Jerusalem. He moved the embassy in Jerusalem. And you can't tell me that didn't lead to more funding for Hamas, because we know from our intelligence agencies that it did. So we can pretend that he didn't start any wars, but he doesn't understand the nature of the world. This is insanity that we're talking about a guy that is this intellectually bereft running the
look up bereft. Intelligently bereft. I'm going to put it to you in very simple terms. It means Donald Trump is lacking intelligence, the ability to apply intelligence in a rational manner, in a measured response that's balanced. He's got no ability to do that. If you're putting tariffs on Canada and Mexico, your best trading partners, you think you've got a trade deficit. It's actually a trade deficit means you owe the United States money. That's not a trade deficit. You don't understand what a trade deficit is. It doesn't work that way, folks. So when you're creating problems, instead of building bridges, like that's a lot of wasted time, effort, and causing pain and suffering to people that makes no sense. But you buy into it. The strong man. Let's go for pain and suffering, because if we do the other thing and make people's lives safe, give them financial security and happiness, those are the options. And you option for pain and suffering. I don't understand why you would do that. Makes no sense. So here's another byline. An unelected tech bro has taken over America. Tim Miller of The Bulwark and Heather Cox Richardson. Heather Cox Richardson, she's an intellect, well-educated, but she lives with I think it's a Maine fisherman. And very down-to-earth, pragmatic woman. So let's just look at this just for a little bit, okay?
Packing for a trip this holiday season? Tired of wasting time trying to figure out how to best pack for your trip?
We don't need an advertisement, Tim. I love you, buddy, but we don't need an advertisement.
Was assistance for rural America for farm workers.
Okay, so here we go. Oh, crap.
Just going to fund the government for 3 more months.
Okay.
Among the things that it was going to fund was assistance for rural America for farm workers who are struggling because of some of the natural disasters because of interest rates. It was going to include a disaster relief for people directly suffering from the natural disasters, and just paying federal government employees at Christmas, among other things. So Elon scuttles this himself, and
so those federal employees, paying them for some of those other things like Social Security checks for people that rely on them for living, for medical supplies, etc., etc. Going to cause pain and suffering unduly to them for that? Makes no sense, folks.
I'm interested in your take on what's happening, and then I want to get into your expertise of 19th century American history and talk about the parallels of what we've seen before when these kinds of oligarchs get their hands on the kitty.
Well, I'm going to correct one thing there to make it really clear. Elon didn't scuttle this bill. The Republicans in Congress who did what he said scuttled the bill.
Thank you. They have agency. I broke my own rule. The Republicans have agency. They scuttled it because Elon told them to. Thank you, Heather. That's a good correction.
And the same thing happened with the immigration bill.
See, it's a very simple thing. Elon Musk, an unelected, nobody's elected him, gives direction to the Republicans that are elected to represent the people. And an unelected person has influence over the government? I don't know. Seems pretty weird to me.
in the last Congress when everyone said, "Oh,
elections?
Trump scuttled this," and I'm like, no. It was the Republicans who chose to follow Trump, who at the time was not in power, and that's actually a really important part of this dynamic. What's happening on Capitol Hill right now is that Elon Musk, who is not eligible to be the president of the United States and who has never held an elected office, but who put more than $150 million into the Trump presidential campaign, and in addition to his work with X that supported Trump, and really, I think we can say was behind Trump being elected to the office, is now apparently calling all the shots. And that has been disturbing for a number of us that I think maybe we should talk a little bit about. But what happened yesterday was that the House of Representatives, which has been run by Republicans since 2023, January 2023, has not managed to pass an appropriations bill for 2024, which is almost over. It was supposed to be done in September of 2023, and it didn't happen. And now we're at the end. And what they have done repeatedly is issued these continuing resolutions, which say we're going to continue to fund the government at this level for another few months until we can finally get our acts together. And the deadline, the last deadline from September, that continuing resolution that happened in September, was Friday, the 20th of December. And very quietly, the House and the Senate leadership worked out a 1,500-page bill that was essentially a continuing resolution that maintained levels of spending from the previous 2 years now, but added, as you say, the disaster relief and relief for farmers, because they also never passed a farm bill. And the farm bill is huge because it's everything to do with our agricultural policy and also our supplemental nutrition programs, as is what used to be called food stamps. So this is not like, feeding the chickens. This is like feeding the country. And that hadn't been done as well. So they folded a teeny bit of the farm bill into this continuing resolution. And immediately the far right Freedom Caucus in the House said, we hate it. We hate Johnson. We hate everything. We want to go home. And I'm paraphrasing, but not by much. And then, but it still seemed like it had to go through, because by Friday, if there's not a continuing resolution in place, we're going to have a government shutdown right before Christmas, which again is political suicide. So it looked like it was going to go forward, and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy came out against it, and the Republicans and said, if you vote for this, we will essentially make sure that we can use our money to guarantee that you don't get reelected in 2 years.
Can you believe that? Using extortion. That's extortion. But two unelected people, Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm maybe not saying his name right, and Elon Musk, direct the people that are duly elected in the House of Representatives of the Republican Party.
And the Republicans all ran scared. And now the whole thing is around their ankles, and we don't have a way to fund the government. And all of the farmers are mad, and all of the people who are suffering under the disasters from the hurricanes in the last few months are unable to rebuild. And I knew that we were going to have to grapple with what it would mean in the United States if an authoritarian took over our government. And we saw that yesterday with the calls for investigating and arresting Liz Cheney. And we saw it with the attacks on first ABC News and then the Des Moines Register. But those are things that many people don't really care about.
It's unfortunate.
They're going to care about losing this continuing resolution, and Musk saying, well, you know what, let's just not fund anything until Trump gets back in office. A month without funding the United States of America is uncharted territory.
It's reckless.
But it also really highlights early on what it means to turn a democracy over to an oligarch or over to an authoritarian. And I listen to me stammering. I do not see how this plays out, because all of a sudden the American people who have been somewhat complacent, but who showed they were really angry over the lionization of the guy who assassinated Brian Thompson, the CEO of the healthcare company, are looking at the fact that it's pretty clear that the government got taken over by an unelected rich guy from South Africa. I don't know how this plays out.
It was taken over quite easily by him, because what he did was he just revealed the truth of what is happening in Washington. And here's like the thing that the Republicans are able to get away with, and I think that the Democrats need to take this lesson very seriously going forward, is that Washington has been run for quite a while by a secret Congress, essentially. Like you're saying, this was done in secret. It was run by a secret majority of adults, right? Which was most of the entire Democratic Party, basically, along with a handful of Republicans and Republican leadership that would work with them to do these CRs and to keep the basic functions running because they didn't want to deal with this crisis that they're dealing with now.
That's correct.
And they did so, and hopefully it didn't get that much attention, right? Especially when Steve Bannon was in jail, it got less attention for 4 months, so things moved a lot more slowly, right? But those Republicans who are willing to be responsible only in secret, now we get to see the truth, right? Now the curtain has been brought back by Elon Musk and by Trump, with their huge megaphones, and they're out there and they're saying, no, Elon in particular, no, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't fund this. And now these Republicans are like, oh wait, I can't go along with this. I'm going to get kicked out. I'm going to have the same fate as Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, right? I'm going to be pushed out by these guys, and so I can't go along with this. And so now you see that really it was the Democrats that were the only governing party. Whether you have criticisms about the way they governed, like they were the only ones that were doing the responsible elements of governing, compromise, like giving a little bit to get a little bit, right? The types of things you have to do.
Acting like a government, working with the people to get what needs to be done for the people. Now, understand one thing. There's no doubt the government needs to be changed. And this is around the world. It's not exclusive to the United States or anywhere in North America. Around the world, the financial system is broken. The framework needs to be reworked, rebuilt in a way that serves the people. And this is the reality. And this is so you're letting these autocrats or businessmen with self-interest, no understanding of government, just self-interest is all that's... They don't care about you. They say you're going to go through pain and suffering. Excuse me. Nobody needs to go through pain and suffering, and this is the issue. It can be done without pain and suffering, but they're going to force pain and suffering on you and make out like they're the hero, and they're not. They could create things and work with allies around the world and change everything for the benefit of the people. But you don't have the will, you don't have the way. And this government, the way you've been running government, really does need to be changed. There's no doubt about it. But it doesn't need to be blown up in a way that you're elected with a guy like Trump and these people that are unelected, that are influencers because they've got self-interest, are blowing it up in a reckless manner because they don't know how to rebuild it in a way that serves the people. And this is where you've got a serious problem. So I'm not going to go any further down this rabbit hole here because this is the reality. And this is where you just got to people understand. You got to get people that are going to work for the people. And you got to change things by 2026 because there's no reason for this destruction. You don't need pain and suffering. You need something that's uplifting and creates an economic scenario that benefits people, uplifts people, and makes life happy. So do you want pain and suffering or financial security and living a happy life? Like this fighting, what does that accomplish? War has accomplished nothing. So fighting amongst yourselves, not going to make things better. So what do you need? So what really works? You can build bridges and create pathways that's uplifting, provides financial security and a happy life, or you can destroy things, create pain and suffering, and only the 1 in 10% benefit like they have for a long, long time. That's your choice. So I'm going to leave that with you. You can have heaven on earth or hell on earth. It's as simple as that. You are the creator. You can create those things. You want positive, uplifting experience that's happy? Everybody benefits? Or do you just want a situation that's pain and suffering and hurts people? It's up to you. Send love and peace to everybody. Stay safe. And remember, it starts by being kind to yourself, your neighbor, your community, and mushrooms out from there, okay? So take care. When you get stressed, don't get stressed. Just calm your mind. Relax. Anxiety serves no one. Do what my two buddies do. Sit on the couch and do nothing, and it'll all come into play. Take care. Love and peace to everyone. Ciao for now.